There are literally thousands of books, manuals, videos, seminars, multimedia, and other training materials relating to back injury prevention. There are many thousands of doctors who treat back pain. 25% of workplace accidents relate to back injuries, causing $80 to $100 billion lost every year in the United States alone. Let's face it, back injuries are a big business. Preventing back injuries is a very popular subject because back injuries continue to occur at an alarming rate. What is the solution? This question was asked of a wide variety of back experts, medical professionals, and trainers from the United States and a number of other countries. An investigation was done on a wide range of back injury prevention programs, such as videos and interactive programs. We researched the files of universities who have done studies on back injuries. The results were surprising. We discovered that very few safe lifting training programs actually reduced back injuries. We learned, without a doubt, each individual is absolutely the most important ingredient of any safe lifting program. The human spine is a complex structure and vulnerable to injury, misuse, and the natural aging process. Part of the reason for this is the dual function of the spine. The back must be mobile so you can move around, and the spine must be stable so you can remain upright all day. When discussing anatomy, remember the word vertebrae, which means the bones in your back. The ideal alignment of the spine is when the joints in the spine are lined up so the back can twist and bend with little friction between the bones or vertebrae. Between each pair of vertebrae lies a flat, circular disc. The outer part of the disc is strong and hard. The inner portion of the disc is soft and absorbs shocks to the spine during any movement. Some people use the analogy of a soft hockey puck with fluid inside, or a jelly donut to describe the discs. Your primary objective when lifting anything is to keep the spine in its natural curves by keeping your back straight. The reason for this is to keep the disc spread evenly across the vertebrae so the disc won't be pinched due to bending of the back. Bending your back pinches the discs and exerts a tremendous pressure on one side of these delicate discs. Sooner or later, they are going to break, tear, or leak. When this happens, you experience back pain and other major problems with your back. Two ligaments run the length of the spine and help hold the vertebrae together. Ligaments expand as you stretch your body. There are smaller ligaments between each vertebrae. There are also small muscles in the back that span 2 or 3 vertebrae that allow the body to straighten up and lift objects. Other muscles, including the abdominal muscles, are in front of the body, and that allows humans to bend forward as well as provide support for the back. Causes of back pain. Generally, back pain is not the result of a single incident. Rather, your back deteriorates from repeated wear and tear over the years, making you more vulnerable to serious injury and back pain. Stress on your back comes from excessive forward bending or heavy lifting, sitting, and standing on your job. Poor posture and sports that involve impact or twisting can cause stress on your back. Let's take a look at the causes of back pain in a little more detail. Strains and sprains. Most back pain stems from either muscle strains or joint and ligament sprains. Strains and sprains can occur when you bend too far or too often, lift a heavy load, or twist suddenly. While activities like these can occur every day, the damage may be mild enough not to cause inflammation, which means you may not feel any pain. It's easy to see how the small, delicate ligaments attached to your spine are vulnerable to tears. You're most likely to stretch and tear these ligaments than the large, stronger ligaments in your back. Remember the pressure applied to your back when you lift anything? Ergonomic engineers have determined that there is a 10-to-1 ratio of back pressure to the weight of the load you're lifting. This means that if you use the proper lifting technique and pick up a load that weighs 50 pounds, you are exerting about 500 pounds of pressure on your back system, which includes muscles, ligaments, vertebrae, and discs. Now, that is considering you're using proper lifting techniques with the load against your body. If you're using improper lifting techniques, the pressure applied to your back can be increased 5 to 50 times. Look at this person holding the load with the arms outstretched. Can you guess the pressure on the back from this 20-pound load that is extended far from the body? The pressure would amount to probably about 1,000 to 1,500 pounds on the back for this 20-pound load. How long can you hold a load that is outstretched from your body? A much shorter period of time than if you held the load against your body. When lifting, bring the load against your body. This one simple rule will greatly reduce the pressure applied to your back system, which includes ligaments, muscles, discs, and of course, the spine and nerves. The load against your body are the key words to remember. Now, you've heard this tip before. Keep your back straight when bending down to lift. Exactly what does that mean? Is this what they mean by keeping your back straight? No, you would be hard-pressed to lift anything in that position. It means that you want to keep your back at its natural curvature when you bend down to lift. Looking at this spine, you can see that it's straight and in its natural curvature. The discs are spread evenly across the surface of the vertebrae. If you compress your back by lifting a load, the discs will absorb the load evenly across the entire surface of the disc. This is extremely important information to remember. It's one of the major back injury prevention techniques. There isn't a doctor in the world who can prevent back injuries. There isn't a training program, a pill, medicine shot, or anything else that can prevent back injuries. Only one person can prevent back injuries. You guessed it, you're the only one who can prevent back injuries. Many of you may work with computers either at home or work. Some tips for these people include keeping your keyboard directly in front of you. Depending on the type of work performed, keep the screen at a comfortable distance. The top of the screen should be at eye level so the neck is maintained in a neutral posture. Your wrists must remain in the neutral position. This is done by keeping your wrists straight and not bent forward or backward. Ideally, an office chair should have adequate heights, adjustable armrests, and an adjustable seat pad and seat back. The height should be such that your knees are level with or just slightly below the level of your hips. This takes pressure off your back. Armrests keep your arms comfortable while keeping your elbows bent at a 90-degree angle. Ergonomics simply means fitting the workstation to the employee's comfort. If the table is too high or too low, adjust the table to the correct height. People are different heights. Therefore, workstations or tables should be adjustable for each individual if at all possible. Some companies use robotics for tedious tasks, which reduce repetitive motion and exposure to a variety of problems. Many companies also use vacuum lifting equipment for lifting the same types of loads on a daily basis. The vacuum lifting equipment is placed over the load, a button is pushed, and the vacuum machine lifts the load. Cranes and other lifting devices have been around for many years to lift heavy loads. Material handling equipment and devices can be used for small loads as well. This is just one more method of taking the pressure off the back system. Of course, forklifts, pallet jacks, carts, and similar equipment can be used as much as possible. Body mechanics is simply keeping your body in a proper position that keeps the back in its natural curve with all the body parts working in a safe and proper manner. On a daily basis, you're lifting a wide variety of objects other than boxes from the floor. Use what you've learned about your back and good judgment to find the safe way of protecting the back system when you are lifting anything. Twisting and lifting can cause serious injuries because your back has so many delicate parts, such as bones, ligaments, discs, and nerves. Any one of these body parts can be injured when twisting and lifting. Bending your back can damage your discs, and stretching too far can tear those muscles and ligaments. Good body mechanics are essential for a healthy back. Stretching, twisting, and bending your back are natural body movements, but you must resist twisting to protect your back system. If you're in good shape, exercise regularly, and a non-smoker, your back is much more flexible and will be less likely to experience an injury. You're asking, what does smoking have to do with your back? Medical experts state that smoking leads to drying and stiffness of the discs, making them more susceptible to injury. This can lead to herniation of the disc and will result in prolonged recovery time for minor back pain or injury. You're part of the solution, so if you can't find a better, safer way of lifting, be sure to make recommendations to your supervisor. A team effort in reducing back injuries is a worthwhile activity. One other tip about pushing and pulling objects. You should never pull a load or object. This can easily create a strain on ligaments, muscles, and add more pressure to your back. Always push objects, such as carts and materials, on rollers. Push. Don't pull. Another important part of preventing back injuries that is often neglected is function training, also known as site-specific training. Function training is simply going through a work area, identifying potential hazards, and developing policies and procedures in order to reduce potential lifting hazards. New employees should have the benefit of being trained on their specific job with function training. Once the person has been trained and performs the job properly, the potential hazards don't become accidents and injuries. With function training, you look at the equipment and work process, how people interact with machines, safety procedures, and proper lifting systems for each work process. Then find solutions for potential hazards. It takes a little time, but it pays big dividends.